Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working in a 5.7 MAG Bravo coming from New York. Precision Marine, this is your computer. They sent this computer because they said it has a Guardian mode, D-rate engine. This is an ECM0402, May 05 calibration. We can see it in here. Let me just see, A65840-001. Again, it's a 350 MAG Bravo. Yep, so I've been running the computer for a while. As you see right now, I have it even open. I usually open these computers to make sure they're not full of water, something that's exploded, shorted, or corroded, right? This is going to be a short test. I already have run the computer and I cannot reproduce the concerns. So I'm going to go, and this is very helpful so you can see how you can check the data in the computer with Diacom Diagnostics. That's what I use in here. It's a very inexpensive software and hardware. It's a very easy cable to connect to the boat and then use your laptop. You can record as much as information you want and everything. And some of them still has even manuals for wire diagrams and so on, right? All right, so let me just move you over to here. This is the connection. You can see this slide that I have here is a substituted value for the IAC. And I have run also the computer with a regular or normal IAC. I got the original IAC in here, and it's been working really good since I connected. So I usually, for boats, especially on seasons, I try to test it as quick as possible, see if it's repairable. If it needs something, I can contact the customer right away. This is the reason of the video, so a short test to try to reproduce a concern. If I cannot reproduce a concern, I wouldn't even recommend a repair unless I see something abnormal in it, because I don't want to make hopes or give hopes to the technician or the owner that with the repair, something is going to change. If I cannot reproduce it in here, the problem is not the computer, right? All right, so let me move you over to the screen, which I have some of the information that I gather as normal. All right, so this is the customer repair form and a picture of the computer, so where you can see all the details and everything. And all the note that I have, it says Guardian mode, the rate engine. So we're looking for a Guardian mode, a Guardian warning. This is just the same the same paper, but with the computer open, what I showed that it was no corrosion, and it looks actually pretty clean. This computer, as long as no water goes through the connector, they can stay very good, even though it's a 20-year-old computer. And this is a whole picture of the computer connector, where I can see, or you guys can see right here, right where I'm moving that hand, the 5.0 reference and sensor ground. We can see the injection millisecond. This is a batch fire system, so it's 4 injectors per driver. And we can see how both are in 3.3. So in there, you will see injection 2 and injector 6. That's how I have it on my setup. And they're both working really good. We can see the fuel pump driver in the main power relay, no horn, no warnings, no nothing. And if I go over to the capture here that I have from the scanner, we can see in the upper right corner, 100% power. This is at idle. I have also saved, and this I do with all the computers, the first connection that I do, I never change any of the data, so I can collect and see what faults are mine and other faults that were there as the actual problem in the boat. So the way that I do this is right here. You see I have 150.8 coolant temperature, and then my air temperature is 59. So those are my 2 control pits that I always look into the information to see what faults are mine or not. So 150 and 59 on temperatures. I'm going to scroll down so we can see the hours on the computer. Let me just zoom a little more so you get to see that. I think that's better. We have a total of 243.02 hours. It was a 236 seconds of starboard overheat, 36 seconds of overspeed, 61 seconds of Guardian strategy, 58 seconds of blood pressure is low. That's very important. And these two are very together. Like it look like almost the same amount of seconds in the Guardian mode and the blood pressure. That's the oil pressure. So make sure that you check your oil pressure sensor and make sure it's reading properly. With the Diacom, we can see that, but let's keep going on to the fault codes. So we have again 24302. 24302. Oh yeah, 243. So this is 242.35. So it's like half an hour before of coming, they had a throttle position, no adaptation. I can see the throttle position in 9 degrees, so that could be potentially just a start, and it didn't read the throttle position correctly. We can see that it's running on 1,000 RPMs, and it's in neutral, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure if he was doing or they were doing a test, and that's why they recorded in neutral. Because, over that RPM, we usually are already playing, in plane mode, and we are driving the boat, right? Okay, the next fault is fuel pump circuit low. Oh, I forgot to mention, the battery voltage is good, 14 volts at 1,000 RPMs. The charging system is working good. This is after a power off, and we can see the battery in 12.14. That is okay. That is nothing abnormal. Temperatures, again, those are definitely his, because we can see the temperatures are not mine. Same thing as the other fault right here. You see manifold and coolant air temperature completely away from my values. So these are definitely in there. Let's see what the next one is. Well, the next one we completely must disregard. Look at this. It's in 163 hours. So that's almost 100 hours ago. That could be years. It depends on how much you use the boat, right? So I can disregard that one because it's a very long time ago. I'm not even going to address that one or even talk about it because it's very, far away. Low dry lube, 205 hours. So that's like 40 hours ago. Still, that can be a year or so. A little low on the voltage here because it says that it's running on 681 RPMs, but it's only 12.14. So maybe they had a problem on the alternator or battery. The battery was low or so. But all the concern on the computer in here was the low dry lube. So nothing that I can go with that. 241.47. So yeah, this is a fault like less than 2 hours ago. Well, let's see what this fault. Neutral over speed. Well, yeah, it's like we Precision Marine. Please check your neutral gear switch because this is kind of weird. You are running in 3,100 RPMs, almost 3,200 RPMs. And the boat thinks that you're in neutral. So that can give problems because if you're not in gear, it will not give you top speed and it can give problems like this one, neutral over speed. It will make the boat go into guardian mode because it thinks that you're revving and but you're not moving, especially on these old computers. And we can see again the temperatures on that fault were definitely not my temperatures. Okay, this one I can disregard because look at it. These two temperatures are exactly my temperature. So this is when I first connect the computer, 243 hours and 2 seconds. So, and that's the PTUD. That definitely is a normal fault. It will not create nothing because it's not even connected. Fuel level circuit high. That's definitely mine too as well. Look at the temperature. So we can disregard that one. What is the next one? Yeah, this is definitely his. And look at the temperatures. So this is definitely his. This was almost before coming in here. Battery voltage after stall 12.17. That's 9. That's fine. Seat temperature circuit high. So that's the seat temperature sensor probably disconnected or something happening here. It's a little hard. Maybe a short in the harness. It's a little hard to say. The connector on the computer is nice and clean, so I don't see any of that here. The next one, this is mine. We can see those temperatures in there, 59 and 150. And the next one, same thing, 59, 150. So not many faults to go by as far as, that low block pressure. We don't see any faults because I don't think they erase it because looking at the history of hours, they had faults of very long time, which I already erased the history, so I start fresh myself, and that's what I want to do. I also have collected, and that's more for the customer than for anyone, 3,500 RPM tests and 4,500 RPM tests. This is data that I collect so I can show the values to them. This computer uses a NOx sensor. I don't have a NOx sensor connected. And I do that on purpose. The reason I do that is because I want to set up a fault. And the amount of power, well, the available power should go to 90% when you increase the RPM. So I'm going to put a pit that we can see the available power. Oops. Playing with the size. Give me 1 second, guys. I messed up the. Okay, so we got available power. I'm going to put another one on the RPMs. I need to change that on the software of OBS because it's showing the same on both. And speed. Okay, perfect. That looks good for you guys. All right, so that's all I want to do. I'm going to, again, increase the RPMs so we can see that change on the available power. So and that also has to do with throttle because look, not only engine speed, when I change the throttle position, which I'm right now in 38%, and let me change the map accordingly. You see, when the map changes, that NOx sensor went into effect. And I guarantee you, that is the NOx sensor, and everything is good. 90% power, that's nothing wrong with that. Like if I go over to diagram and I go into codes, and I read the fault codes, okay, I almost erase it. We can see that the first fault in here is NOx sensor 1 code active. And that is why I went down to 90% available power. If I go down, that fault code will not go away until I erase it pretty much. So I'm going down to idle again. Around 600, 650. I'm going to bring the throttle accordingly around 7 to 10%. That's what I usually use in idle. Anywhere in there. And then in map, I usually do 510 to 530 at the most. That is the pressure on the manifold, and on this setup is in pressure. But as you can see right now, even though I changed the values, that fault code is there. But if we read the fault code again, let me erase the fault codes and then read the fault codes. It says now that the NOx sensor fault code is inactive. So that is, again, only on higher load, not just RPM, higher load. And the load is calculated based on throttle position sensor, RPMs, and map manifold air pressure. Only when those three are a certain level due to the maps, the software, the manufacturer put in here, the NOx sensor will start to be taken in consideration. But we have no guardian mode. So again, I've been running this computer probably for 40 minutes, and it has not given me an issue. I'm going to go over again to this place in here with the diagram. I can select that H, and there will give, and you cannot see that. Let me actually move you over to the display so you can see that in reality. Let me take those two out because now we have it. So this is, when I click on it, let me click cancel so you can see what I did. So I just click on that H and then read full and RPM history. Here you can erase the full history and the RPM history. Don't erase the RPM history. It's just good to know where the boat is driven the most. It's a very good information for me. The full history you will erase until you collect a data like I did. So I save all the history of the fault. Then I want to erase, take it for a test drive, an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is, to duplicate the concern, and then come back and read the fault to see if a fault came. Because otherwise, I'm looking at all those old faults, and I don't know what is new and what is old, even though we have hours, but I would rather work with a clean read. All right, so let's do a read in here. And in here, we're going to see, how the fault codes are going to be populated. And we're going to see maybe trim, pitot, steering, and those, again, that are not connected. Yeah, that's all we have. You see, we have NOx sensor for 78 seconds. Well, yes, we don't have a NOx sensor connected, but everything else is clean. There is no more issues. And we can see now the hours in here, almost 244. But again, The only faults that I have is a knock sensor, which I will have to again erase that fault history. The pitot and all that is not connected. Those are not connected on this setup for this boat. But everything else is good. So what am I going to recommend with a good working computer like this? That will be no good for me, because I will be adding myself into the equation of a problem that is not going to be corrected with a computer. I always recommend, if the customer wants to have the computer repair, it's a 20-year-old component. So I can do the refresh and I can recommend that, but that will not correct your issue in the boat. I cannot give you that promise or anything, because all I've been doing is to make this computer last for a longer time. That's it. But to correct where your situation is, no. That is definitely nothing that I can reproduce in here. I need more information. We need to understand what is set in that Guardian mode, because it's definitely not the ECM. Something is there that is set in that fold, and is either a shorter harness, block pressure that is low, and the block pressure we can see here. I usually, when I have the block pressure, let me put one pit. Come on. I have to turn it on. Yeah. You can see now the block pressure is oil pressure. I can change that in here because I have that oil sensor connected. You see, if I start coming down, I will, right now with that pressure. Like if I go down, you see right now is actually, let me see where I am. Why is not updating that bit? Oh, I know why, because I set it up into a problem. Right now it's reading. You see, it now went to read. I'm going to bring down that oil pressure slowly. Let me get also the available power so you guys can see the change immediately on the available power. And then we'll probably set up, like I said, the Guardian mode. So let's do this test. Let me put the auto pit. Yeah, available power right now is in 100. So because the pressure is still in a normal value, if I start coming down, I'm going to go slowly so we can see where that will go into less available power. Right there, look. 18 psi is already cutting the power down on the computer or in the boat, right? 64% available power. Why? Because that oil pressure is too low. No. That's, and if you have a sensor that is not reading or a shorter harness, that will immediately set up a fault. So let's see if by this being like that, let's read the fault codes. It says oil pressure circuit, but it's still not in Guardian mode. I'm just reading it a couple of times more. So let's lower the pressure a little more. You see, it's not that much that you need to really go into a red. But this is still okay. It's giving you still almost 50% power. 14. Now we're in 27. 24. 20%. Guardian modes is usually when you get at 6% of overpower. That's what the Guardian modes get set. Let's see if we get a Guardian mode or not yet. You see, no Guardian mode, even though we have 9%. So this sensor has to be completely shorted or open, right? So let's go down to like that 6%. So we're now in like red numbers. So let's read the fault codes. I am surprised it's not set in a Guardian. Let me raise up the RPMs. I'm trying to, yeah, it is cutting. Now the injection cut. We have a completely dead engine, like right now, you see? So let's lower the RPMs. And this is going to be only possible here because you cannot, your engine died, you cannot lower the RPMs, but I can do that here. So I don't know what my RPMs are now, so let me go down to idle again. We are there, and let me read the codes. It still didn't set, even cutting down like that. Okay, now we are. Okay, now we have the Guardian mode. So sometimes this is an old system. Sometimes it takes a little bit more than just a one time to get the full code. So please, if you feel, just keep doing a little more. Please use your scanner, wash your pits. If you have no oil pressure, you have to check sensor. I will put even a manual gauge to see if the pressure of the oil is good. Then you can do a test, because you don't want to run a boat with like low oil pressure. That will damage your engine. That will be a catastrophic damage, right? So we need to make sure it's an electric situation and not a real mechanical problem, right? But yeah, we can see here right now, Guardian mode, low oil pressure. And we did have those faults in there. Remember the seconds of faults, but we didn't have any history of faults. So that is where it's sometimes hard. So if I increase now the oil pressure, if I go over to that, not sure why the available power is not changing. Maybe I need to be cycle the key in order to do that. So let's do that. I'm going to kill the engine running. Okay, just by killing the engine, look, and running again, I not even need to switch ignition. It went to 100% power. But yeah, so that could be your problem, Precision Marine. I will start with the oil pressure, especially if I had that fault in there, because anything else can set faults, but it would not bring your available power to those limits of 6% and lower. The only thing that I have seen that can do that is the manifold air pressure sensor, the coolant temperature sensor, and the oil pressure sensor. Anything. Why? Because overheating will damage. A map that is read and run, it can float your engine, hydrolock your engine. Definitely no good. And then the oil pressure, why? For mechanical, no lubrication, and for catastrophic engine damage. So that's why those three are the most important, and it can set up that available power to set up a Guardian mode. So let's look into that. Again, guys, I'm trying to show you how I reproduce a concern, how I analyze the data. I'm showing this to the customers, to all technicians, to anyone that has a boat like this, so you can start looking for what the problem might be. Again, if you have a low oil pressure, check with a mechanical gauge. We need to know for sure if we have oil pressure or not. Overheating, get yourself a thermometer. I have this one from Clean Tools. Very, very nice. Let me just give you the part number. It's the IR07. This one has even, you can take two measurements and calculate, because this is for HVAC and it has nice probe. So you can put this into the coolant reservoir, or if you don't have that, you can just, let me see right here. Hopefully, guys, you can see the infrared. So that will read the temperature. Right now, my temperature is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So then you can use that. Okay, well, then keep an eye on that boat, in that engine. Is it getting super hot? Because if I'm going over 165, 170, 180, let me take, is that the real temperature? You go there and it's 185. Let's go down, turn that engine off, let it cool down. Whatever you need to do, something is overheating, right? So again, I'm trying to help you so you don't damage your boat or your engine, and I'm trying to help as much as I can to gather the data here so I can show them what they need to do in the boat. All right, guys, if you're here in the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. When you subscribe, YouTube promotes more and more of my videos, and that helps my small business a lot. And that's how you find me. It's for free, so please do so. If you do, thank you so much. If you have any marine or automotive computers that you need to repair, I'm going to put the title in the title of this video, my website, so you can copy and paste it and just contact me. All my contact information is right there. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.